JJ?
Gio, how you doing there?
Good, how you doing?
Good. So you've had 9 starts, and I asked Bill this a little bit earlier. I'm asking you the same question. What are some tangible improvements you believe that you've made going back to the first start?
Just running the offense as a whole. Just getting the ball moving. We got to do better in the red zone, of course, but just getting the ball moving, executing the plays, and getting us in the right checks and alerts, just to make sure we're getting the best ball play we can run for that play.
As a follow-up, one of the things he said you made progress in is when not to throw the ball. And you haven't thrown an interception in a while. Kind of take us through learning how to not throw the ball, when not to throw the ball, and sort of protecting it more.
Just comes with, not being so aggressive. Of course, you want to be an aggressive player and not play scared, but just understanding when the play's dead or when you need to throw the ball away or just not put the ball in jeopardy, and that's just, something you got to do as a quarterback.
Mike?
Gio, just a couple quick ones. What was the big rivalry game at South Alabama?
Troy.
Was there like a trophy that you guys played for in that game?
Yeah, it was Battle of the Belt.
So what about nice? Here too. What have some of the older Carolina players here told you about the emotions that go into the Duke game and sort of what's at stake?
I've been told it just means more. And of course, I want to, win for our seniors and win for all the guys that's been here, and just win another football game. So for us, just of course focus on practice today, but it just means more, and just want to, win for the guys next to you.
Jeremiah?
Quick follow-up. Did you beat Troy in your life?
Yeah, I beat Troy.
Jeremiah?
Yeah, Gio, I wanted to ask about the offense as a whole. Obviously, last week against Wake, 12 points, and looking at the 10 games in totality, maybe 9 rebounds. I guess from your vantage point, what have been some of the challenges of, finding that consistent rhythm week in, week out offensively?
I think it just starts, of course it starts with us, but I think it's just in the red zone. We just got to get better, putting up touchdowns. We have a great field goal kicker. He does a great job. He showed up really big for us last week, but I just think we need to, be better in the red zone and just be able to punch the ball in the end zone.
When you look at it, you mentioned the red zone earlier as well. What in the red zone do you think breaks down to where maybe you settle for a field goal rather than, getting over the plane? What do you think kind of just stops, when you guys get to that?
I think it's just execution. We just got to execute our plays, to the best of our abilities, and sometimes we struggle in this, in a lower part of the field. But I think just overall, just execution is having us, execute the plays to the best of our ability.
Michelle?
Yeah, I guess just on that, maybe for Wake specifically, I know you talked about just the film review with Belichick and just how much that's, helped you throughout the season. I think, and I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but once you guys got inside the 30-yard line, I think you were maybe 1 of 8 passing there, and, rushing game also, you guys were having trouble on the ground. Just anything in particular that maybe stood out for you going over the film in, the inside 30-yard line from this Wake game?
I would just say this. Of course, you got to reserve the right to kick. You never want to put the ball in jeopardy in the red zone. If you got 3 points, you don't want to lose those 3 points. So just not putting the ball in jeopardy. And I think just for me, I got to be better in the red zone. Completion-wise, putting us in the best situation. But I think this comes back to executing and putting ourselves in the best situation.
Gio, big picture question before these 2 rivalry games. What has this year been like for you mentally?
It's been up and down, but I think just growing as a person on and off the field and just being the best player I can be and as the best teammate and the best leader I can be. So just growing as a person.
Brian?
Yeah, Joe, along those lines, have you given any thought to what the future holds for you and that decision to leave South Alabama where obviously you put up such great numbers? Have you thought back on that at all as did I make the right decision? Did I make the wrong decision?
No, I haven't thought back to it. I'm thankful for the opportunity I have and just be able to play for an amazing program like North Carolina and just making the most of it. And just happy to be here and just do what I can while I'm here.
Has it been difficult? Personally, when you guys if you don't win games, you don't put up points. How much of that are you internalizing and are you dealing with, on a week in and week out basis? How much pressure are you putting on yourself?
Of course, I want to win games. Of course, it doesn't matter my stat line. I just want to put us in the best situation to win games. Something I hold dearly is winning games and putting ourselves in good situations. And it's rough, but for me personally, I just got to keep doing what I can.
Grant?
Hey, Gio. These last 2 games, of course, are rivalry games. Of course, you got the Duke game this week and then NC State next week. But with the fact that you guys need 2 wins to become bowl eligible, just how much more urgency is in these 2 games outside of the fact that it's a rivalry game?
I think the urgency just comes with, having a great day at practice today, and having a great day tomorrow, and then having a great preparation day Friday, and then showing up Saturday. So for us, I just think just put our best foot forward and just make sure we play our best game by the time Saturday happens.
Michelle?
Yeah, I don't think we had the chance to ask you about this, but obviously Jordan had some like pretty strong words for you guys after the weight game. Really applauding the defense, calling the defense out, like saying, we gotta do better. Just wanted to kind of get your vantage point on what that conversation was like and what you took from that in the locker room just after the weight game.
Well, I stand with Ship. I think he came out and said what he had to say, and I think as an offense we got to step up more in the red zone and put more points on the board for our team. But at the end of the day, we got to be make sure we're not separating each other, offense, defenses, make sure we keep each other as a team and just put ourselves in the best situation to win.
Trayvon?
Do you know fair or unfair as a quarterback, get some of the blame, get some of the criticism? How much are you taking that upon yourself, being in that role of leadership position and the face of the offense, to try and get this thing better when you guys are struggling to put up points?
I take it very personal. You want to be the leader for the team, and you want to, put the offense in the best situation. And for me, I just want to be helpful for anybody and just want to be that leader role. And, when your offense is struggling, I feel like it's on me, and I want to put us in the best place, best places to win. So, I take it very personal. I just want to make sure we have great days.
And then if I could just follow up, what are you guys doing? You guys have done this weeks in. What are you doing now to ensure that's the best, putting the best foot forward in the next several games?
Just starts in practice, of course, like just making sure we're getting out there earlier, covering new plays that we're running, or covering, schemes, and making sure that we're cleaning up little things that we're missing on, just little routes or concepts or blocking schemes. Just make sure we're like cleaning up all those things and just, put in extra time and put in extra effort in the film.
And the last one for Shelby.
Just on that note, a big part of it is the execution. You've kind of repeated, but you just talked there about maybe running new plays. I'm curious from your vantage point, from like a play calling standpoint, maybe any new wrinkles, new things you guys have tried over the past few weeks that you feel like have been effective for you all.
I think whatever's been effective is whatever Coach Kitchen calls, and I think he does a great job. I think he calls great plays, and I think we just got to execute them. So, when it comes to new wrinkles or new plays, I think just whatever, Coach wants us to run, we just need to execute to the best of our ability.
Perfect. Thanks.